Hey, everybody. We're back taking questions. As you know, we get a bunch of questions every month, and we started a few months ago taking really smart people, getting together with them, and taking the questions. Some are serious, some are not. Today we have Mike. Mike, reintroduce yourself to the community if you don't mind.
Hey everybody, I'm Mike Turner. I run professional services for Upland Software and have been lucky enough to know Dean here for a couple of years and get together and do this kind of thing. So I'm pretty excited to get this first question, Dean. Let's do this.
All right, now, Mike, I don't know if you're really ready for this. This is a highly personal question. So, Mike, I got a question, and it was like an eight-part question, but we'll just take it from the top. It's all things wine. Now, for everybody who doesn't know Mike and I together, which that would be everybody, Mike and I have had a few wines together, and we're both pretty opinionated about it, right? So let me fiddle in some of like, I don't get when to have what kind of wine. I don't know where to go where should I visit in the world. It was I mean, it could have been a book by itself. But Mike, just kick it off. Where are you what's your favorite wine? Where are you in wine?
Yeah. So I started collecting wine because of Southern Rhone wine. So if you're familiar with things like Côte de Rhone, which you often run into at a restaurant, it's a blend of Grenache, Syrah, and Mourvèdre as the grapes. And I fell in love. And a friend introduced me to it, and I said, "Hey, I love this. I want to do more of it." So I would start your question by saying, try wine. That's actually the first thing you want to do is get out there and try a bunch of different stuff to figure out what you like, because wine isn't about making other people happy. Wine is about making yourself happy and hopefully learning and having fun at the same time. But even if you don't learn, do what makes you happy.
Yeah, I like that a lot. So try wine, try good wine. You don't have to try great
Hmm.
wine, but try good wine so that you can get the style
Yeah.
right. And I loved just get out there and drink. Your taste buds. Well, this is one thing that happened to me. My taste buds changed over time.
Yes.
My wine interest changed over time, and it was a wonderful journey to go on.
It's true. It's one of the challenges with collecting is that you can buy a bunch of wine and then literally have your taste change. And then you have a whole bevy of back ordered wine that you're like, well, that's not as much my style anymore. The good news is you can have friends over and you can drink wine with them. But here's what I will tell you is that uh, you started talking about good wine. I think a good price point to shoot for is like $25 to $30. Gets you to that place where you can try a wine, really get an idea of the style or where it comes from. You go a little cheaper than that, and it may get generic. You don't need to go to the $100 bottle of wine to start. But what you'll start to figure out is the difference between the various regions of Europe. Like I know you spent time in Bordeaux, but there's Bordeaux, there's Burgundy, Southern Rhone. We just talked about that's just one set of major categories of wine. So I'd go to a store and buy a bottle from each. Just walk into the section and ask someone for a piece of advice around 25, $30. Walk out, pull the cork, have it with your friends, have it with your spouse, and give it a try.
And
It's
just keep doing it. Keep also.
Yeah,
At least where I live, I would tend to go to a good wine store.
yeah,
We have some big ones, but because the grocery store, I don't know how it was stored on its journey.
yeah.
So I would tend to go there. I do have a quick wine story about someone who drank some of my wine. So I came home one time, and I have to ask before I do this, my sister and my wife forgive me. So I came home one time, and one of my sisters, is like the greatest human, and she's pretty much my wife's best friend. So I come home, and she's visiting from the Carolinas, and she looks at me, and I just flew home. I just walked in the door. She goes, "Oh, this is some of the best wine I've ever had." I immediately said, "Hey, honey, where did you get the?" What? She goes, "Well, the wine in the little red. I have red tape around what random people can drink, right? Like stuff you used to
Yeah.
like." And then she goes, "But it was right by the red tape." And I said, "Well, the wine storage is not like a hand grenade. It's not close to that bad." So I said, "What was that?" Now that was a 2005 Margot.
Oh,
Probably at the time they drank it, $4,000. I didn't pay that. I bought ahead. And my sister goes, "Do you have any more?" I said, "Absolutely not for you." But you're not a $4,000 Margot drinker.
And was it even in its drinking window at that point?
Yes.
It was. Okay, so at least it was like, so for those of you who don't know, wine needs to sit for you to get the best wine. And so often what you buy at the store, it does drink better if you sit on it for a little while. And so you could go and grab yourself a $4,000 bottle of wine and have a great experience, but be 50% of what it could have been if you sat on it for 5 more years or 10 more years. Yeah. Well, at least they had a great experience.
Yeah,
Dave,
yeah,
I
and I
gotta tell
love
you.
her, and she, and I did better marking, right? That's all I'm going to say. I did better.
Or
It's on
you
me.
need to create it like a hand grenade where it just spreads outward and you get it as far away from their point of
I
view as
have,
possible.
I have the first box you can go to, the second box,
Nice, nice.
You'll
At
hear
least
it
we
the first
ordered
time.
it. Yeah. So there's a good piece of advice if you're going to leave wine unattended.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So another thing that was in his question, which is a pet peeve of mine, is in the U.S. now you'll go to a restaurant, and I had this happen with a CEO coming to visit me in Houston recently, and you order a great bottle of wine, and it's not a Burgundy, but it's served cold like a Burgundy, right?
Ah,
And they
yes.
claim
Yeah.
that's the way it's drunk in France, and in that I had a house in France for 15 years. I never had a cold Bordeaux, and it's just I know the problem. I don't want to put wine out, and
Yeah,
but
and it does very much change your experience of the wine. If you like, this is one of those, if you're experimenting, if you have a $20 bottle of wine in your house, fine, put one glass in the fridge and one glass on the counter, and then try them next to each other. And you'll find that that colder glass of wine, in a lot of cases, tastes half as much. You can't experience the wine. It's closed off by your palate because it's cold. And you'll get the feeling for why that's not a good idea. I like you, most of my wine I drink at room temperature.
yeah,
Yeah.
it, it
100%.
just it's just better. But if you're in a restaurant like that, touch the bottle before they open it, right?
Yeah.
And
Right.
I personally don't accept that just because I'm not going to be there long enough for that
Right.
wine to open up.
Yeah.
And I don't mind if they are unhappy with. I don't mean for anybody to be unhappy with me, you know that. But if they're
Yeah.
unhappy with me, I've got to say, listen, you made this choice. I didn't.
Hmm.
I,
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
not involved in your choice of how to do wine.
It does bring up, though, a really good restaurant, a good sommelier will always be gracious under those circumstances. And so if you run into someone in a restaurant who is mistreating you, and there's a lot of pressure around wine. There's a lot of feeling that like, oh, I need to know what I'm talking about. A good sommelier will never make you feel that way. And that's a thing to remember. If someone's treating you like you're inferior because you don't know what you're talking about, that is not a you problem. That's a them problem.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And within the wine world, you should be able and should be feel free to say, I don't actually know what I'm talking about. I'm looking to you for some advice. Here's what I like. Give them some characteristics or things that you've had in the past. Tell them your price range. Always feel comfortable telling them your price range, and then let them bring you back some options. And never feel bad if you also don't order any of the things they told you to order. That
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
it should be a no pressure game.
Yeah, and like you said, that's their job, and they absolutely should do that. And no matter how much you know about wine, there's wines you don't know about. And I always
Yeah.
confess, I don't know about American wine.
Yeah.
And there's great American wine, but I know nothing about it. I will never pick an American. I just don't know
Yeah.
about it. I don't know New World wine. So, but I'm not uncomfortable about it. I go, I
I'm a
don't know.
big fan of going into a restaurant and saying, "Hey, do you have anything on your menu that I wouldn't know about?" And just see what they come up with. Like if you end up with a wine from Moldova, right? On the far eastern side of Southern Europe, man, I want to give it a try. Let's do it. If you tell me it's good, I mean, now if it's not good, I don't want to try it, right? But at the same time, that's the whole experimental nature of this. It's like that gives you an opportunity to experience something new and different. But I agree with you that like I will walk in and say, hey, you're a Spanish wine restaurant. I don't know a lot about this particular region. Talk to me about it. Teach me a thing. And that's the other thing that I would tell you about wine that I love is if you are like you and I are and into information, into details, there's a lot you can read. As you get more experience, go and find stuff, read magazines, find books. if you're interested. If you're not, that's fine. You don't have to be that human. But if you want to be that human, this is what I do. Is I'm just constantly reading about stuff, and there's always more to learn, which is really cool for someone
So
like me.
leave us with your best advice, and then we'll wrap up all things wine for today.
Yeah, yeah. So in my opinion, once you get past that first experimentation phase, find the thing that you like, then go down a rabbit hole on that thing. That is the way to go. I did that. I told you Rhone wine. I had a couple of great ones. I just started buying that and trying more of that. And right now I've got cases upon cases of that particular style of wine. And I became more of an expert in that space, which was really cool. It was really fun for me. Read about it, went to visit places. If you like to travel, wine is a fantastic place to be. So ultimately, just have fun with it and find the thing that you like and be okay with the things that you don't. That's fine.
All right, Mike, thank you so much. I hope
You're welcome.
everybody goes out there and finds your wine.
Yeah. Nice talking to you today, Dean.
All right, take care.